If you're watching this video, you're either almost ready to place an offer on a home in South Carolina or you will be soon. To make this process more comfortable, let's take a few minutes to look at the forms you'll be signing and the most important form fields that we'll be filling in. Please remember, this isn't a comprehensive review of these documents, so please call, text, or email me if you have any questions. Now, this is a list of the forms, at a minimum, that you'll be signing to submit an offer in South Carolina. The South Carolina Disclosure of Brokerage Relationships, the Buyer Agency Agreement, the Contract Form, and the Seller's Property Disclosure Statement. Now, I'll be delivering these documents to you for your initials and signatures through an electronic signature system called DocuSign. I'll send you an invitation that you'll receive in your email inbox. It'll look something like this, and to get started, you'll click Review Document. The South Carolina Disclosure of Brokerage Relationships is a state-required form. In short, it details the different ways that a real estate broker and a consumer can work together in a real estate transaction. For our purposes, please note that I only practice single agency, which means I represent you and only you in our transaction and no other party. The Buyer Agency Agreement details our working relationship. Please make sure in Section 1 that your names are spelled correctly, and in Section 2 that I've properly described the property that you intend to purchase. Section 5 describes broker commissions, or in other words, the amount of buyer agent commission that I will be paid. Please note that brokers shall use their best efforts to obtain payment of the brokerage fee out of the transaction. What that means is that I will do my best to negotiate with the listing agent and seller to have them pay my fee so that it does not come directly out of your pocket. The term of our agreement is specified in Section 6, and please note that in Section 7, I will mark that permission to act as a dual agent will not be considered. Once again, I work for you and only you in this transaction. The commonly used South Carolina contract form contains multiple key protections for consumers, also known as contingencies, that can be selected to protect buyers, including financing, appraisal, and wood infestation inspection results. Other contingencies, like a home-to-sell contingency if you need to sell your current home to buy a new one, can also be built into the contract. I like to select as many contingencies as possible to protect my buyers, so be sure to reach out to me if you have any specific concerns to make sure that we've addressed them in our offer. Section 1 of the contract lists the names of the buyers and sellers. Please once again make sure that your names are spelled correctly. Section 2 includes our purchase price and whether or not you have a home-to-sell contingency. Section 3 describes the property, including the address and tax map number, and a list of appliances and other personal property that you would like to convey with the sale. Section 4 has our closing date. This is the date that we will complete the transaction and you will get possession of the property. Section 5 has our earnest money deposit and who's holding it. Please be sure to reach out to me if you have any questions whatsoever about earnest money. Section 6 details our transaction costs, also known as closing costs, and on the top of page 3, that is the amount of closing costs we would ask the seller to pay on your behalf. So those would be seller-paid closing costs right there. Section 7 details your financing or your loan if there is one. Section 8 is the due diligence section. In this contract, inspections are handled through a due diligence process where buyers and sellers negotiate the length of time that buyers will have to conduct inspections and the amount of money that buyers will pay the sellers if they want to cancel or terminate the contract, also called a termination fee. The expiration time of the due diligence period is listed here in the first line of Section 8. And on the top of page 4, that details the termination fee that you as the buyer would pay the seller if you would like to terminate the contract during the due diligence period. Section 10 is the appraisal contingency. Section 11 is the wood infestation or termite contingency. Section 14 details the home warranty that we would ask the seller to purchase on your behalf. And page 7, section 31, is the expiration day and time of our offer. So once we get your offer submitted, this is when it would expire. So we would want the sellers to respond before this day and time. On page 8, you'll once again find my contact information as well as the contact information for the listing agent. The seller's property disclosure statement contains a lot of critical information, including detail about certain repairs that have been made during the seller's ownership and perhaps repairs that still need to be made. Now, we probably discussed a lot of this information when viewing the home, but it's critical that you go through this document line by line. There's a lot of good information here, including the year that the roof was installed and the year that the HVACs were installed and other things as well. Now, please note that attached to the back of this document is an addendum. We call it the HOA addendum, and it contains information about any HOA that may be associated with this property, including any charges, be they monthly or annual or quarterly, and the contact information for the homeowners association. So critical information to know. Now, the forms we've just reviewed will be ones most used in real estate purchase offer scenarios here in South Carolina, and I hope this video has been a good introduction to these documents and helps you feel a little bit more comfortable with the process. Please keep in mind that the offer process is legally binding and that every detail is important. If you have any questions at all or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me for a more detailed explanation. Thank you for watching.